crypto as a industry is really about the future of the internet. It's really about Web3. What that means is it's not just about crazy token prices. And in fact, I think the whole concept of decentralized web, the token piece is really one part of it to incentivize the user to actually own part of the network. That's really what it is for, and I think it's just the beginning.
You're obviously also a China financial expert. Where do you see the China market at the moment?
I love China, and half of my family is in Beijing and in Hong Kong. I think obviously we've been having some challenges, particularly in the public market for many of the Chinese companies. But having said that, being from Hong Kong originally, I don't actually think it's a bad thing, having exit and IPO happening in Hong Kong or Shanghai instead of being in the US. But having said that, I think regardless of what happened, China is the second largest market in the world in terms of GDP. This economy is not going away. And I think that just a lot of really interesting industry, particular healthcare or hardware chipset, there's a lot of core infrastructure that China needs, and I think those industries are doing well.
Obviously here in North America, there's lots of talk of a potential recession. What are your thoughts in terms of that? Obviously with the impacts of inflation, high interest rates, where do you see the economy, say, a year or so from now?
We have 12 years of bull run, or maybe even longer, 14 years of bull run. And I think when there's up, there's down. But for me, I think on a day-to-day, obviously inflation is really impacting sort of the mass and the general population. This is something that we have to be aware of. And I think obviously the US government is trying very, very hard to increase interest rate and trying to sort of have a little bit better control. This, as somebody who's like investing in tech or being sort of thinking about technology, there isn't much like we can do to support per se, but hopefully for me is whoever that's going to stay in the industry are the one that really wanted to build for the long term. And in some sense, particularly for early stage investing for raise capital, we've been seeing valuation dropping, particularly for early stage infrastructure software. I actually think that is probably not a bad thing being an investor at this time, because this is a time where we can actually investing in companies a little bit more reasonable valuation.